the right, playing against John Lewis. John Lewis's deck is a red. Okay, let's see, a red-black deck. Now remember, we're switching to the draft challenge here. So, important cards to note from John Lewis's deck: Soren's Vengeance, 2 Shocks, Gorehorn Minotaurs, widely considered one of the best cards in the format, a Fireball, and a Chandra's Outrage. Melissa DeTora playing green-blue. Important cards to note: 3 Phantasmal Bear, a Mind Control, and an Overrun. This is actually the second Overrun Melissa's had this weekend. She opened up Grave Titan Overrun in one of her drafts earlier, took the Grave Titan, and then was later passed a different Overrun.
Wow. It's not often anybody gets passed an Overrun. Grave Titan seems like a reason to pass an Overrun, but...
Yeah, I mean, she took Grave Titan over Overrun, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
For those of you who are just joining us, we're taking a short break from the Legacy event to show you the semifinals of the first draft challenge. John Lewis on the left, Melissa DeTora on your right.
It looks like the die roll for the choice to player draw happening here.
Only if they had a significant chance. No, I think that would be
One of the things that it looks like Melissa has as perhaps a weakness of this deck, she has the Overrun, but there are a lot of spells in the deck and not as many creatures. Can you remind me, the Crown of Empires, is that the one that steals a creature?
I believe so. I'm going to double check.
Yeah, she has Crown of Empires as another bomb then.
Yeah, it's tap target creature or gain control of it if you control all 3.
Even if it's just the tap part, she doesn't have all 3. The tap part is just fine.
Very good, yeah. I think a lot of players see the second part and go, no chance I'm getting that. This must be bad otherwise. Being able to tap something.
We got a mulligan from Melissa here.
Just about a little over 10 minutes left in the Legacy round. So, not sure how long we'll feature this before getting to a Legacy match. I guess we'll see what happens.
I think the first Magic tournament that I saw Melissa at was U.S. Nationals in 2000. Wow. That was my first time seeing her at an event. She was playing at her first U.S. Nationals. She had crushed at the regionals, and I think she did okay at Nationals, but since then she's had several money finishes at the Pro Tour. I should say 1 or 2 money finishes at the Pro Tour, to be more accurate.
That's a half a handful almost.
Yeah. A couple. There we go. A couple.
Couple. It's a couple.
Okay.
All right.
Turn 1 island. No Phantasmal Bear. She's got 3 of them. Mountain. Probably a Fire Slinger. Is that a Goblin Fire Slinger?
That's going to be tough.
I think so. Nope, must not be. He's attacking with it. Well, he might as well attack with it.
I think it is. Well, it is.
Is it? It could be an Arsonist.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a Fire Slinger.
Okay. And then a Stormblood Berserker. Things are looking very rough for Melissa now. 3/3 coming in, Stormblood Berserker. Yeah, that's a Fire Slinger.
Yep.
Is that not a Blood Rage Vampire? Not a Drifting Shade. Warpath Ghoul. That's a Warpath. No, it doesn't look like a Warpath Ghoul. Giant Spider from Melissa DeTora.
Definitely not a Warpath Ghoul.
Blood Rage Vampire, maybe, but then he would have a counter.
Doesn't look like a Blood Rage Vampire either.
Do they have new art for Child of Night? Nope. He has added a Devouring Swarm to the board over there. Sorry, is that a Drifting Shade? Yeah, he added a drifting shade to the board. Melissa lays the 5th land here. She has mind control in her deck. Gin of Wishes is pretty okay. The Gin comes complete with 3 tokens with which to wish for.
That's it. It's devouring.
Yeah, it's a devouring swarm. Combust. Main deck kills Drifting Shade. Melissa flicks the die off to the side. Giant Spider holding back.
Do you mean kills Gin of Wishes?
Gin of Wishes. Yeah, I said that. And then
sound like you said Drifting Shade.
Oh, did I say Drifting Shade?
Yeah.
Gin of Wishes.
That's
Melissa's gonna go to the next one.
How did she combust a Drifting Shade? Yeah, it looked like Melissa had just a slow, very slow start, as opposed to John's just very fast start.
Yeah, Melissa mulligans into the slowness. It's possible that Melissa might sideboard in a Fog against this very fast deck. I could also see Titanic Growth coming in for Melissa from the side. She's a little bit creature light, and also 3 of her creatures are Phantasmal Bears. So Titanic Growth is a little bit weaker than it might otherwise be. Also, I kind of wonder, even though Crown of Empires has a powerful purpose, if John's deck is too fast for it.
Yeah, it's kind of expensive when you're facing down that many aggro creatures. You got it's like a 2-drop and it costs 3 to activate. So obviously you can split that over 2 turns. You just drop it on 2 and activate it on 3, but if that's what you're going to be doing. You want to be tapping down something big and beefy, not some 1/1 or 2/2.
Both players.
Unless it's the only creature available.
Both players have a Sundial of the Infinite in their sideboard.
Looking for a few players for the 2-headed giant.
Just random trivia.
Yeah, exactly. There's no other reason to mention that.
I just think it's kind of funny.
121 and 130. We're waiting for you again. Jimmy Williams, Charlie Tran, and Corey Lamada. Please report to the 2-headed giant area between tables 121 and 130.
John Lewis's deck has very, very few cards in his colors that he's not already playing in the main deck. So there's very little for John Lewis to actually sideboard. It's possible he could do things like, I mean, I don't see him bringing in Wall of Torches in this deck where he's clearly the aggressor. He might bring in his second Distress, perhaps, viewing himself as aggressive enough to keep Melissa off of her more expensive drops. Melissa looking to make a little bit of a change from that first game, mulliganing into a slow and disappointing game there. Shuffle, 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 shuffle.
All right, looks like John's ready. All right. Both players presenting, shuffling each other's decks here. It's very cool. Like if you don't have a Legacy deck, or just don't want to play in Legacy, like Shaheen Zarani was talking to me earlier. He said, you know, he likes Legacy. He thinks it's an awesome format, but he feels like the decks that he wants to play aren't playable in Legacy. Like the cards that he wants to play, he mentioned Exalted Angel actually is one of them, not playable in Legacy. So he comes Sundays and drafts.
Right.
And wins 4 out of 5 draft opens.
Melissa starts with an island, plays a second turn Phantasmal Bear, so she's must have just drawn that one. And then John Lewis there with Mountain. I think we're going to see a...
Shock.
Any red spell that targets will do it.
Pretty much. But Shock would have done it either way.
Melissa lays 3 mana down, and is that a wolf?
Yeah, it is a
Sacred Wolf.
Or Scared Wolf.
Depends on a fearless
deck.
tactic.
Dyslexic, yeah. It's
Back.
yeah.
Blood Rage Vampire?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blood Rage Vampire. Sacred Wolf comes in, trades with the Blood Rage Vampire. And a Giant Spider comes down.
Only
Giant
surviving
Spider, a Legacy staple.
Did you say a Legacy staple?
It's true.
It's the only surviving alpha card.
It's the only card that has seen print in every basic set. Or core set, if you prefer that term. And there we see a Mind Rot. Discard 2 cards. Do not take 3 damage.
Yeah, it's not a Blightning.
No Blightning here.
We're eavesdropping on Glenn's interview with Jerry Thompson.
Jerry Thompson is being interviewed by Glenn Jones a few feet away from us, so you'll be reading about that in our live coverage a little bit later on the print side.
There's
be sure to check out
Gin of
Glenn
Wishes
Jones'
for
work.
Melissa.
This looks like a repeat of the last game from Melissa, except for there's no creature control or creature on the other side. Fireball getting rid of the Gin of Wishes this time.
Giant Spider doing some work here.
Giant Spider coming in again, making John Becker proud at home. And that looks like that is the Crown of Empires.
It is.
With 3 mana available. And once again, we see the return of the Devouring Swarm, tapped by Crown of Empires.
Getting tapped, and she's just gonna keep getting in there with the Spider.
Tap for 2.
Until he can get a second creature on the board.
Spider is our hero.
Yeah, Spider's doing all the work. Spider with the crown.
I promise not to kill you.
Tap it, attack.
Taps the Devouring Swarm. No attack for the Devouring Swarm. Another land. Untap. Spider.
That Spider is really, I'd say it's pecking away at John's life total, but it doesn't have a beak.
We got a little bear over there of the Phantasmal variety.
That's gonna double clock.
Devouring Swarm comes on in.
Huh, in this case she lets him, she doesn't tap it. Lets it attack. Obviously something else she wants to do with her mana.
Deathmark. Deathmark works. Something we learned this morning.
That is time. That is time in the round.
Something we learned this morning. If you've got 2 Deathmarks and you put them over your eyes,
I think that was actually last night.
2 creepy eyes looking at you. Phantasmal Bear coming on in.
A second shock for
Another
second
bear.
Phantasmal bear, and there's a third bear.
I got more bears. You want bears? I got bears.
John, do you have more shocks?
Checks the hand. Tap the Devouring Swarm. Go. Lots of land over there for John. He's pretty flooded right now.
Yeah, especially considering the last game.
John runs 18 land in his deck.
Bears in again. Well, actually, I think that's the first time that bear's got in.
Devouring Swarm is
Tap the
tapped.
Swarm.
And we got a Goblin Fireslinger. Phantasmal Bear in again. Goblin Fireslinger seeing, I believe, top 8 play in the Star City Games Pittsburgh. Crown of Empires tapping down Devouring Swarm once again.
Yeah, notably, it only targets players, so it's not a danger for those Phantasmal Bears or any other illusions. And
for those of you who are just joining us and wondering where the Legacy is, we'll be getting to the Legacy again once the next round starts. But in the meantime, here's some bonus coverage, the semifinal match between Pro Tour competitor Melissa DeTora and John Lewis. They're playing in the Draft Open, the first Draft Open in the semifinals.
rampant growth from Melissa. Trying to match John land for land here, I think.
Melissa tapping down again, Devouring Swarm.
Happy to take a damage from the
Fireslinger.
Goblin.
Did he attack or did he poke? I don't know.
Could be either. Either way, I think he did a damage.
And is that the that is the Berserker?
Yeah, the Stormblood Berserker. Now, I believe that Berserker. Yeah. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. Oh yeah, it was. So that Berserker, I think, is going to be the new recipient of the Crown of Empires ability.
I believe that's a Jade Mage, which is going to be able to create a lot of 1/1s.
It indeed is a Jade Mage.
Jade Mage, one of my favorite cards from the set for draft. Actually, to be fair, Goblin Fireslinger and the Stormblood Berserker, I love red in M12 draft.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice combo right there. Big fan of Jade Mage's artwork, personally. Nice Izzy artwork, but very cool looking. A lot of thinking going on here.
Attention landing players, Alan Latino, please report to the judges station. Alan Latino to the judges station.
Goblin Arsonist hits the table. At the end of the turn, Crown of Empires taps, or maybe before combat, taps the Stormblood Berserker. Question it if he wants to come in with a Devouring Swarm or not. I mean, getting rid of the Arsonist is a real way that he could come in with that swarm. If the bear blocks, then he can sacrifice, let's say, the Arsonist. Blink. Kill the Jade the Jade Mage. The Mage makes a 1/1. It's a 1/1 token in play now. And John does not want to march into the 1-1 and the Phantom Bear. If Melissa has overrun, she would be in pretty okay shape right now.
Fantastic shape right now.
Here they come. A 2-2 and a 1-1. Any blocks? Block, block. Titanic growth, perhaps? 1 damage to Melissa from the Fire Slinger. And then the Fire Slinger dies and the token dies.
Is that Lurking Crocodile? Is that...
Lurking Crocodile. Island Walk is not relevant, but Body, 2-2 or no, still relevant. Here they come, 2-2 and a 2-2. Devouring Swarm. Blocks
Devours
1,
the crocodile.
trades. Take 2, John Lewis drops to 4 life. Melissa says go. All of those lands for John Lewis.
That's like almost everyone in his deck. See how really good that Jade, that Crown of Empires has been.
Yeah, Crown of Empires has been fabulous. It's going to be the Minotaur. I believe that is Drifting Shade. Melissa with 3 cards in hand. I think none of them are particularly good, but I think she might have just drawn one. I think there might be 2 lands and then the new spell that was drawn. I'm not certain of that, though.
She's got a lot of mana. I mean, he's got really a lot of mana, but she's got quite a bit herself.
The most threatening thing about him having a lot of mana, Fireball, is gone. He's already used it. It's in his graveyard. However, he does have a Sorin's Vengeance.
That's pretty threatening.
In his deck, not necessarily in his hand.
That's true, right.
Taps the Drifting Shade. He does not attack with the Berserker.
Huh. Not exactly sure what happened there. Oh, okay, never mind. She tapped it at the end of turn or before combat. He doesn't attack, and now she's drawn her card. There's another giant spider.
Decisions, lots to ponder. I'm Melissa. During combat, Crown of Empires on the Drifting Shade to keep it from doing any shenanigans. A lot of mana being tapped now. Oh, is this the Vengeance?
Was that 7?
I think that is the Sorin's Vengeance.
I think it might be too. It's kind of a glare on it. Almost positive it was.
Sorin's Vengeance. John Lewis back up to 14. Melissa down to 5. Suddenly on her heels.
Yeah, I mean, he's given her so much time, but she hasn't been able to capitalize on it.
She says go. During combat, taps the Drifting Shade. Chandra. It's the Chandra's Outrage.
Yeah.
Goodbye to the Spider. And then in comes Stormblood Berserker, I believe for the kill. Can't block the Stormblood Berserker. Hey, Judge, you can't block the Stormblood Berserker. Hey, Judge, you can't block the Stormblood Berserker.
What did...
Okay, it doesn't matter. She loses anyway. Stormblood Berserker requires two blockers.
Creatures, right? Yeah.
But Melissa, if the life totals were correct, would have been knocked down to 3 and then attacked by a Stormblood Berserker for the kill.
Right, exactly. So John able to come back after being so flooded, like it's kind of you know, as I said, well, game 1 he just overran her. You know what I mean? Like there was just she just didn't have anything to really do. But game 2,